It's good to see you again. I don't know if you remember me or not. There you are. A priest, veterinarian, and an Arapaho. I can't remember. I never did finish writing that joke, but I will now. And I remember this is a really cool place. I remember this was an electric shop at one time, like Betts Electric, I think it was called. And the only reason I remember that is because the guy that worked here at the time, I ended up stealing his girlfriend. So if you're in the audience, I'm sorry. We got married, but no, I'm just kidding. So I wrote down some of the things that I wanted to talk about because my memory isn't what it used to be. One of the things that I love about being Arapaho is we have our own slang. One of the slang words that we use is ch, and it's like, I remember seeing a little kid, a Arapaho kid, he ordered a plate of something in a restaurant, and they put it in front of him, and it wasn't what he thought it was. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be, and he looked at it, and he just went, "Cha?" It's almost like saying, what the hell? And the other one is, oh, hey, which is kind of like, hey, that's really cool, But my favorite one is ennet. And then the Scottish people have a similar slang word, it's ente. Like, he drank a Guinness ente. But then we have oh yeah, that guy's going to town, ennet. So if you've ever seen the movie Smoke Signals, they really, really stress that word. There's a line in there where a woman says, his name is Victor, ennet. That means he's gonna win, ennet. So anyway, that's one of my favorite slang words. I don't really say it a lot, but if you talk to an Arapaho man long enough, he'll eventually get around to it. One of the things that, I was going to tell you, Father mentioned that I auditioned for the very first Native American sitcom that was going to be on NBC, and it happened on 9/11 of all days. And so for the longest time, I blamed Osama bin Laden for ruining my show business career, because I went ahead and auditioned, and the casting director called me aside afterwards. He said I was supposed to pick 3 people. There were about 60 people there. He said I was supposed to pick 3 and then bring them to Toronto. He said you would have been one of the guys that I picked. I thought, damn, Osama bin Laden, you bastard. So years and years later, there was a movie director that they have a film program up here at CWC, and one of the directors had written a pilot script and gotten it approved, and we were going to shoot this TV series called Wind River that was going to be shot around here and on the reservation, and I had been cast as second billing as a special agent with the FBI. And I was really, really excited about that. I got the script, and I was learning my lines, and it was a really huge part. And then, I didn't know this, but there was a movie that came out called Wind River, and I went to the screening of it, and I watched it, and I hate those movies where it's a movie about natives, but the main characters aren't native. I hate that. It pisses me off. But anyway, so because of that movie, the support for that show went away. So not only did Osama bin Laden ruin my show business career, but the Arapaho people ruined my show business career too. So, but anyway, I still get to do this once in a while, and that's a lot of fun. So, also I'm really hard of hearing. I'm learning sign language, which reminds me of this time a few days ago where these 2 Mormon missionaries came to my house. And it's not like I don't like Mormon missionaries, I just don't like discussing religion with kids that are younger than my underwear. So when they came to the door, I opened the door, and the guy says, have you accepted Jesus Christ as your Savior? And so to get out of it, I went like this. And so he went, oh my goodness, I'm sorry. He told his friend, this guy's deaf. And so that guy, he went. And then I went, shit. Come on in, let's get it over with. So, I just got cast in a TV show though. It's a country western musical variety show for transsexual rednecks. It's called Her-Ha. So I'm really excited about that. Yeah, somebody told me the other day I should run for council, tribal council. I mentioned that to my dad years ago, and he said, the way you piss people off, Ron, you would probably be the first councilman to ever be assassinated. And he said, you gotta start small. He said, run for something like economic development. You don't want the Arapaho people hating you all at once. You need to work up to it. So, but if I do run, I'm gonna run on the platform that if elected, I'm gonna build a wall around Ethity and make the Shoshone tribe pay for it. Do you guys know they're making a new $6 million man movie? I'm really excited about that. I don't know who's going to be the star of it, but adjusted for inflation, it's about a guy who gets a tonsillectomy. So, that took a second, didn't it? I was going to say I meant that one for my friends, but. So, there's something that happened a few years ago, but this really did happen. It's a true story. I wrote a joke, and I had told it several times, and then discovered that there was another guy that wrote a joke with the exact same punchline as mine, only much, much earlier, like years and years ago. And I only discovered it because I was going through videos on Facebook, and it's a guy named Gary Muledeer. Anybody ever heard of him? No? Oh, okay, you got one fan over there. So he wrote this joke, and then when I saw it, I thought, did I ever hear this joke? And I said, no, I've never heard that joke before. I never even heard of him at that point. But I don't tell the joke anymore as my own. I still tell it because there's a cool story that happened after that. So the story goes, the joke is that I suffer from depression, which is true. And one day, it was during Christmas break, because I'm a teacher. It was Christmas break. I told my wife, I said, I'm going to take a drive. I'm not feeling very well. I need to clear my head. She said, okay. So I took off. I was driving south. Before I knew it, I was in Lander. And then when I got to Lander, I turned left. Before I knew it, I was on South Pass. Before I knew it, I was in Rock Springs. Then I drove east. Before I knew it, I was in some little town in eastern Nebraska. It was snowing to beat hell. I looked outside, my car was already being drifted over by snow. It was a very dingy, depressing motel room that I was in. There was a big brown spot on the carpet, probably blood. The only two channels I got was the Home Shopping Network and the 700 Club. And I thought to myself, how many people have OD'd in this room? You know, how many people have been murdered in this room? I was just feeling, and I thought, you know, when my wife finds out that I'm in eastern Nebraska, she's probably going to disown me. My kids are probably going to disown me. And so out of desperation, I sat down on the side of the bed. I opened up the nightstand, and there was this Gideon's Bible. First time I've ever picked one of those up. So I opened it up, and I'm flipping through, looking for any kind of passage that's going to make me feel better. And then I found it in the book of Matthew. It wasn't like in the Bible. It was a handwritten note. And it said, Are you at the end of your rope? Are you feeling alone and desperate? If so, call this number. So, with nothing else to lose, I called the number, and I was saved. Turns out it was a liquor store that delivered. So I told that joke, and then one day I typed it up and I put it on Facebook. And before I even knew that somebody else had told the joke. But anyway, I typed it up, and just for authenticity, I got on Google Maps and I found a town in eastern Nebraska, and I Googled liquor stores in that town. I pulled one up, and when I got to the note, I called this number. I actually put the actual number of that liquor store, and then I just sent it out. So I got a lot of LOLs and a lot of laughs, and I was in the Walmart one day, about a week later, and this woman comes up to me. She goes, "I love that joke that you posted." And I said, "Oh, yeah, the liquor store." She goes, "Yeah." She goes, "I called that number." I said, "You did?" And she said, "Yeah. When I called, I asked if they delivered." And the guy says, "You know, you're about the 10th person that's called asking if we deliver. Maybe we should deliver." So I feel like I've made a difference in the world. So, Oh, I need to tell this story. It's a true story about my daughter Elizabeth here. My wife has 5 Pomeranians, 5 little shitlins running all over the house. They have three bitches and then 2, I don't know, sons of bitches? 3 females and 2 males. Let's just keep it simple. Well, I didn't know this, but their menstrual cycles had synchronized. I guess that happens with women that are incarcerated or in basic training. I read that somewhere, but it happened with our dogs too. And so to keep them separate, my wife put up a baby gate in the hallway. And the girls were over here, the boys were on this side. And we have one big dog, Ochi. He's the biggest out of all of them. And so I came home from work one day. There were 2 baby gates in the hallway. And I asked Elizabeth, I said, what's with the baby gate? She goes, Ochi knocked one of them down. So I had to put another one up. And I said, oh, okay. I said, did he get to the dogs? And she said, him and Coda, the other male. Him and Coda. It took me 5 minutes to get them separated. And for those 5 minutes, Dad, this house was nothing but gangbang. And I said, Elizabeth, where did you get language like that? She goes, come on, Dad. I go to public school. So, I love you, Elizabeth. So, do we have any teachers in the room? Any 1, 2, 3? Okay, good. I've been teaching for 26 years. I just got my early childhood special education endorsement last year, so that's what I'm doing now. But my degree is in elementary ed, K through 6, which gives me the opportunity to go to these conferences and present, which I really enjoy doing. And during this one presentation about classroom management and teaching life skills, I wrote a song, and there was one teacher in there, and I hate these kinds of teachers. They're so annoying that they think they know everything about education, more than everybody in the room. And those people really annoy me, you know? And so she kept interrupting me, she kept trying to contradict me, and so I got to this part. It's a hand washing song, and I'll sing it for you real quick. I kind of like it. So, it goes like this. I am washing my 2 hands, watch me scrub, watch me rub, always wash before you eat, let's get started. First I turn the faucet on, not too cold, not too warm, then I grab my bar of soap, now I'm scrubbing. Making bubbles in the sink, lather up, give a wink. I am washing my 2 hands, now I'm rinsing. Now it's time to dry our hands, grab a towel, do it now. Then I turn the faucet off, now I'm finished. So that was my song, I sang it. I got moderate applause, thank you very much. And then that same teacher raises her hand, I'm like, oh my God. I said, yes, do you have a question? She said, no, that song's not a minute long. And I said, sing slower. So, get back to my wife. My wife watches a lot of true crime TV shows. A lot of those shows are about a wife that killed her husband, like either in self-defense or for insurance money or whatever. And sometimes I think my wife might have something like that in mind for me. When we first got married, I had just been diagnosed with diabetes, and so my wife, being the loving wife that she is, she went to the grocery store and she brought me some healthy snacks. And so I'm helping her unpack all the groceries, and I pull out this package. I said, oh, turkey pepperoni. And she said, oh, you don't like turkey pepperoni? I said, no, I've never had it, but I'll eat it. I'm sure it's good. Thank you for thinking of me. So I put it away. A little while later, she slipped and she fell. She hit her face, her cheek on the cabinet, and I could tell it hurt really, really bad. I felt bad for her. But after an hour or so, it started swelling up, and it was looking pretty gnarly. Her mother came. She said, Amy, what happened to your face? And Amy said, Ron doesn't like turkey pepperoni, but he only had to tell me once. Immediately, she started toward me, and Amy ended up having to get between me and her mother-in-law. I'm cowering in the corner like this. But I said, don't do that, Amy. You're going to get me killed one of these days. So if I come home ever and I see her watching these true crime stories, I'm only going to get worried if I see her taking notes. So Margaret, there's if you like writing about stuff that really happened, there's a story that happened to me years and years ago. My cousin lived here in town. He owed me $5. And back then, it was $5 would buy you a 12-pack of name brand beer, so it was more significant than it is today. So he said, just come to my house and I'll give you the $5. So he lived in this basement apartment, and this little house, there was a nice front porch on it, and then along the side of the house was a little narrow sidewalk. And when I got there, there was this guy that was playing this god-awful heavy metal thrash music. It's just horrible, horrible music. And he had on speakers about this big, like miniature refrigerators. That's how, and this music was just blaring, and it was hurting my head. There was nobody on the porch. So I walked and I knocked on my cousin's door. I knocked again, nobody came. So I thought, okay, I'll just get it later. So I'm walking back along that sidewalk, and leaning over the rail on the porch, there was this guy with a .357 Magnum pistol in his hand. He wasn't pointing it at me, but he said something over the music that I could only read his lips, and this is how it went. Did you get that?
No.
I don't want to say it out loud. Anyway, so I'm over there and I'm screaming at him. It's like, my name is Ron. I'm just here to see my cousin Jeremy, and I'll just go and so he goes and turns the music down. He's still got this pistol, and I told him what I was doing, and he said, oh, okay. He goes, you want a beer? And I said, no, thank you. I'm driving. And so he's not pointing the gun at me, but he's gesturing with the gun, and he said, get your ass up here and have a beer. And he's like, really? And so he's got long stringy hair, he's got a scraggly beard, he's got tattoos on his face and all over his arms. He wasn't wearing a shirt, he was wearing a denim vest. And when I got up on the porch, I noticed he had a walking boot on, so he had injured his foot somehow. And so already I'm thinking, okay, this could be handy when I escape this guy, because I don't know how crazy he is. He's keeping me on his porch. I thought, okay, I'm just gonna slam the beer, say thank you, and then walk, and then drive away. As soon as I was done, I said, thank you for the beer. I got up, he goes, no, sit your ass down, you're having another one. I was like, please, you're making me nervous here. And he goes, sit down. He's gesturing with the gun. So I sat down, he gave me another one, and then another one, and then another. I was on beer number 5, but I was starting to catch a buzz, and it wasn't even a good one. It was an angry buzz. And so I thought, eventually, this guy has to go to the bathroom, eventually, I'm hoping, because he's just slamming beer after beer. And so he asked me, he said, I need you to do me a favor. I said, what's the favor? He said, I need you to drive me to Crowheart. Now, if you don't know where Crowheart is, it's about 60 miles west of here. So it's not like just a little cruise. And I said, I'm sorry, I only have a quarter of a tank of gas in my truck. He said, no, I'll buy you some gas. I said, so what's in Crowheart? He goes, I'm selling a guy an 8-ball of Coke. Oh my God, now I'm drunk driving. I'm gonna be drunk driving now, and then I'm gonna be a drug runner for this guy. How can this day get any worse? So I said, okay, yeah, I'll take you. Just kind of biding time. Eventually he did have to go to the bathroom though. He got up, and this is when he points the gun at me, and he says, don't you go anywhere. I'm coming right back. I said, okay, I'll be here when you get back. So he starts hobbling into the house, and he's staggering. I look inside the house, and I'm watching him walk down the hallway. As soon as I saw his silhouette disappear to the bathroom, off I went. I got in my truck, I tore out of there, I looked in the mirror, and he comes out on the porch with that gun, and he points it at me, and I turned just in time. I don't know if he fired his pistol at me or what, but I did get out of there. And when I got far enough away, I just stopped and buried my face in my hands, and I think I was crying, if I remember right. Just thankful that I had gotten out of that. And then I got angry. I said, I'm gonna go to the cops and let them know. And I thought, no, I can't do that, I've been drinking. Shit. So I ended up just going home, and I ended up letting that one go. So if you ever need an anecdote to put in one of your novels, you can certainly use that one. So I don't know if the guy made it to Crowheart or not. So anyway, what's that? Oh, what's that?
Where was your cousin?
Oh, I don't know. He never did tell me. But yeah, I never did get the $5 either. So what kind of a native comedian would I be if I didn't tell some native jokes, right? Everybody's familiar with the stereotypical res ride that we natives are supposed to drive. Res rides, res runners. I remember my first res ride. It was a 1963 Dodge son of a bitch. Went from 0 to 60 whenever it wanted to. Sometimes I wouldn't even be in the car. I'd just start up and go chasing cows for some guy's pasture. Couldn't open the windows though because they were painted shut. So I ended up selling that car. It only had 800,000 miles on it. I sold that car and got the cheaper version of the Dodge son of a bitch. It was a 1970 Plymouth Bastard. So the other day I was going out to the powwow. I was out on 17 Mile headed there, and as I was driving along, there was a car way up ahead, and it was on the side of the road. The flashers were on. So I thought maybe this guy's car broke down or something. So I pulled up behind him, and I got out to see if he needed some help. He was standing on the road. And turns out this guy was half Jewish and half Arapaho. And so I walked up to him and I said, do you need some help? And he says, can you believe this? Can you believe this? I paid $12 for these retreads and the damn things didn't last me 6 months. Here I am on my way to powwow. I got a back seat full of kosher taco meat and fried bagels going bad. I think I got the cramps from that toilet seat from that casino down the road. And to top it all off, these arch supports in my moccasins are killing me. Oy vey! In it. So, there's one other thing I'd like to say. Do you guys want a joke that you can take home with you? All right, everybody remembers who Ted Bundy was, right? So Ted Bundy and his girlfriend are walking on this nature trail one evening, holding hands. It was a very romantic thing. They're walking along, and as they get further and further on this nature trail, the trees start getting thicker. The sun's going down, and so it's starting to get dark. And his girlfriend says, Teddy, it's getting dark out here, and I'm getting scared. And Ted Bundy says, you're scared? How do you think I feel? I gotta walk out of here by myself. Well, that's it for me. Thank you, everybody.